Welcome to the Bully Girl Magazine podcast, season 2, episode 2. This is a voice of the American bully community and the go-to spot for bully breed enthusiasts around the globe. Take a deep dive with us into the captivating world of bullies as we share stories, insights, and highlight the stars of our beloved breed. If you're hooked, and we bet you will be, make sure to subscribe to Bully Girl Magazine and enhance your experience with our Bully Girl mobile app. Now, without further ado, let's jump into today's exciting episode. Today, we're joined by Yessie from Bulldoze Kennel, a mini French Bulldog breeder in Chicago, Illinois. Hello, Yessie. Welcome to the Bully Girl Magazine podcast.
Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Who is that cutie on your lap?
This is our main star first edition. He's our main stud, our smallest boy as of right now.
Oh, he is so cute. My husband keeps saying, no more dogs, no more dogs. And then he says, well, maybe a Frenchie. So I was telling him about you and showing him your awesome article, of course, in Bully Girl, which I will put here for a moment. It is fantastic. Now, I wanted to ask, when did your love of bully breeds begin?
Oh, as far back as I can imagine, I think I wanted my first pit bull at like 10. My parents have always been afraid of pit bulls, so they never allowed it. But we've always had dogs, so I've always had a love for animals. Finally, when I moved out, 16, 17, went to the shelter, got my first pitty, and have had one ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. I know that's one of the things that drives me nuts is the stigma. And it's so important that we have this show and this fantastic magazine so we can talk about it because honest to God, my dog Blue, my pit Blue is like the biggest love muffin ever.
And
like he just wants to cuddle.
Every pit that I've adopted from the rescue, now don't get me wrong, I am iffy with the bigger guys adopting them from the rescue, but I've always gone and gotten them pretty young or as young as possible. And they've been amazing. They've been better than behavior wise and mind wise. They've been better than any Frenchie or pit bull that I've ever bred. I think they understand more that we're giving them a second chance. So
absolutely,
they've been the best dogs I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I interviewed a woman on another show, and she had fostered over 200 dogs. 200 dogs, all breeds. And you know what she ended up with keeping for herself? 2 pit bulls. And I'm like, oh my God, think about that. Every breed you could imagine. Yep. And the ones that she has now are 2 pitty. So I just think bully breeds are incredible, which of course is why I'm here. So I want to talk about your awesome article and your Bulldoze Kennels. Now, it was in the 13-year anniversary edition of Bully Girl magazine. And we talked about pit bulls, and you used to breed them. And what was that like?
I loved it. My first experience was oops.
I love that sound.
My first litter was an accident litter. My mate at the time had kids. We told them, they used to love helping with the dogs. We tried to keep them separated. So it was a litter. And it was a big surprise. But what made me love it so much was as my girl was going through labor and having her puppies, she would put them all in my lap. And no matter what I did, I would try to put them in a basket to help her. And she would get up through labor and pick up every puppy and put them back in my lap. And that connection between me and her is really what just made me, my parents bred poodles, and I've never had that type of connection with any of these dogs. And so I just knew that I felt like they just understood more than, majority other breeds. They're one of the smarter breeds. I could say that for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They're super special. And so in the article I read, you're no longer breeding pit bulls, but then you met a mini French bulldog. And what was your first reaction to these cuties?
Oh, I was amazed. I spent many years working in dog daycare. So the Frenchies that I met have all been the negative side of the Frenchies. So I mean, like adults racing to eat poo and just the dirty dogs. So I never really had a good feeling for Frenchies, never really had any good, never heard anything great about them. I had a friend who got into breeding Frenchies. He bought a chocolate merle and he was beautiful. He was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I fell in love with him. It wasn't any other Frenchie. I fell in love with him. And he was having trouble with him. He was just having behavior issues with him. He called me. He's like, I know you love this dog. I want to, sell him. Do you want him? And I was like, of course. and took him in. He was a beautiful dog. He had a complete 360 of his behavior and became one of my oldest and most cherished Frenchies. He's on my logo. He started almost everything when it comes to Bulldoze Kennels.
No, that's so cool. You know, it's funny about the poo because so I have two dogs. I have my heart and soul Blue, and then I have my lab. My poor lab, I'm always like, he's my heart and soul. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny. My
Oh, no.
brother, like a year ago, I had posted a picture of Benji, my lab. And he's like, who's Benji? And granted, my brother lives far away from me, but still, he's like, you have two dogs? I've only seen your pit.
About what?
Anyway, as soon as Benji poops, Blue makes a beeline for it. So I literally have to go outside every single flipping time they're out
Really?
together.
And that's
Oh my God, it's so gross. And my vet was just like, oh, well, that just happens. And I'm like, well, what the hell? So it's really funny that you mentioned that about the
it is
Frenchie
rare for
because
people. Rare pit bull behavior,
is
right?
it? Oh, that's good to know. That's
Yeah,
good to
no,
know.
that's super rare.
Okay.
I've heard with the Frenchies, I've seen with the puppies, it's like literally as soon as they're born, 3, 4 weeks, some of them are just like favorite dessert, like I don't get it. And they grow out of it, but I
Oh,
feel
good.
like a lot of people don't put the training behind helping them grow out of that behavior. And after a while, it just becomes natural to them, it's just a natural thing, a habit. So,
Yeah.
that's one thing I work on with all my pups. I try to send them home poop free.
No, that is good to know. The other thing was when I was reading the article, I understand that health and DNA testing are cornerstones of your breeding program. So, talk to us about these tests. What genetic conditions do you look for, and what are the specific tests that you perform?
So, every puppy gets a health and DNA test either through Embark, which tests over, I want to say 300 different
Mm,
diseases per breed. We do get a little more in depth depending on DNA, if it's something new that people are going through. But our studs and our females all get OFA tested.
mm,
Him, for example, being that he's so compact, which is something that is not so much sought after by half the breeders in the Frenchie world. The
right.
biggest concern is their spinal issues,
Oh, okay.
hip issues, elbow issues. So we test all our studs for things like that. For example, he is OFA hips and elbows passed so far.
Oh,
Um,
good.
and he's still pretty young. I think they usually want you to do it at 2 years. He's a year old, but
Oh,
he
okay.
is breeding, so we wanted to go ahead and get that started and get that done for him. Any of our major studs, we get those tests done just to help people feel a lot better about what they're breeding to. We have a lot of people who come with health cleared Frenchies who don't have any spinal issues, don't have anything
Oh,
of that nature, but they do want to create a smaller dog. So, they do ask these questions and it makes it better for the longevity of the pet. I want my dogs to last longer than 2 to 4 years. We want
oh,
Frenchies that could
yes.
last 10, 12, 14 years. And if we could start with, something simple as hip dysplasia or, IVDD and start with, making sure that that's not an issue, then that's what I would do. I rather have a good name and know that in 2 to 4 years, 6 to 8 years, people could still recommend us and say, hey, I still have this pup from Bulldoze Kennels. I bought him or her 10 years ago. And, that's really what I'm looking for as far as, my kennel goals.
Oh, that's great. And what did you say? It was IDD or IVD? What is it?
IVDD. So
What is that?
it's an invertebrate disease. So
Oh,
with a lot of these Frenchies, either they have an extra vertebrae or they're
mm,
missing one, or it might be fused or broken in certain positions. So those are one of the things with any longer dogs. So Beagles, Corgis, Dachshunds, anything on the longer side, they have these types of issues, and they're very, very much prone to it. They're not supposed to be jumping up and down and off of
right.
couches and stuff like that. So anything to make these guys a little bit stronger.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Now, what's your favorite bloodline?
Right now, I love Cobra Line. My favorite I happen to get him from, which is Mosley Lion. He's from Mosley Kennels. His
Mm.
father's name is Limited Edition, hence
Yeah.
the first edition. Um, I was super in love with their line, also being that his line also has a lot of champion and grand champion winners,
Oh, wow.
both in the States and outside of the country in big registries. So was really looking to produce an all around dog in the future, good for
Yeah.
anything, pretty much.
Oh, that's great. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about,
Yes.
there are common misconceptions about the bully breed. And I'm guessing with the Frenchie, it's a little bit different. But if you do get some of this, how do you address this with potential puppy buyers and the public?
If we do have puppies that have issues, we tend to pet home them and we try to find owners who understand what they're getting, understand
Right.
the issue. I have yet to have to deal with anything of that nature, but I
Hmm.
have bought in dogs and bought dogs of my own that I tested and ended up having these diseases and these mishaps. So we rehomed them, we ended up
Yeah,
finding a pet home and keeping the paperwork and just I don't want to breed health issues into my line. So I rather
sure.
just find them homes, As far as the puppies go, we'll find them good homes. And hopefully whoever we find them homes with, we do try to screen them as much as we can to make sure that they could at least afford if anything happens in the long run with the puppy. Uh,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. It's something you don't really want to give to anyone. But I try with anything that I know might not be lucrative to myself. I try to help out other families. So, I do know
That's
many
nice.
families who are, less fortunate. I do know families who have children who are also disabled. So I feel like they make a better connection. I tend to give those puppies to those families to kind of help the little ones a little bit.
Oh, that is so nice. Speaking of puppies, I love how you talk about in the article that they undergo sensory exercises. What are some of those exercises and how does that help socialize them and prepare them for
Um,
new homes?
So we start them from young. We keep the TV on and the radio
Mhm.
on. So we try to have city signs. We do live in a city, big city, Chicago.
I love
So
Chicago.
train noises, we try to have those going on all the time.
Hmm.
Normal traffic noises, we do try to have those on as well. Once they hit about 2 weeks, we start with Q-tips or cotton swabs, we will go with their pads, the paw pads. We will start rubbing their stomachs.
Oh,
We'll start messing with their paws to make sure that they're okay with getting their nails clipped, ears, and getting their ears cleaned. Um, we go picking them up. We allow mom to start roughing them up a little bit. So we let mom spend a bit more time in there to start teaching them, just general dog behavior as well. 4 weeks old, we start changing their lining to their welt boxes so we could go from super soft to turf so they could start learning
mm,
the difference in the field of, potty training and
yeah.
whatnot. Um, but the biggest thing for us is just noises. Living in a big city, we have to get them used to noises and being able to go outside for,
Oh, yeah.
in the craziness and the hustle and bustle of the city.
Yeah, that's true. Now, in your opinion, what are the characteristics of a responsible dog breeder?
Um, Health, of course, just make sure everything is healthy.
Hmm.
Sanitize as much as possible. No one's perfect. I
No.
can't say that I started off as being the perfect, breeder, the perfect
Right.
person behind it.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest place to start is to just make sure that we keep our dog's health and,
Yeah.
sanitation in mind, because without that, they won't make it that far. We need the
Yeah.
education as well. And I know some people just jump in and, think that it's easy. I mean, for me, going from pit bulls to Frenchies, I thought the same thing. A lot of people educated me and, hey, you need certain items and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I've been breeding for 10, 15 years
Ah,
already. I don't need any of it. And, I was humbled very, very quickly. My first litter, I went from 8 to 2. Um,
oh,
just in a blink of an eye. And I went out after that. I went out and got everything that I needed, everything that, people told me. And I've never had an issue since.
oh,
But
good.
I do think that, being well educated and breeding, even learning the fundamentals will help you rather than, just jumping in. And I think that's what a sound breeder needs to do is just formally educate ourselves so that we don't take losses and we don't get emotionally scarred,
Oh,
by doing
yeah.
what we do. You know.
Now, what were some of the differences between breeding pits and breeding Frenchies that you learned?
Well, pit bulls are very much more independent. I'll say bullies in general,
Sure.
are just way more independent when it comes to their litters, whereas the Frenchies need a lot more help,
Oh,
with the smushed in faces, with the
oh,
breaky issues. They go through aspiration a lot, depending on,
oh,
there are a lot of things that, kind of help with yes and no with aspiration. But even the healthiest of dogs, sometimes they over make milk and it's just way too much for these dogs. And with them having such short snouts, sometimes they just can't get through getting things where it needs to go. So, you
Oh,
do need things like oxygen concentrators and aspirators and things to help suction these puppies, which is something that I kind of didn't think I really needed.
yeah.
Um, they they are a lot smaller with a lot thicker and girthier parents. So we do need to watch them a lot more. When they come out, they're super tiny in comparison to mom and dad, or, in general, just in comparison. They do come out about, I want to say you could compare them to like teacup poodle
Oh my
size. But yes,
gosh.
they come out pretty small. So it's very
Wow.
easy for mom to smush, hurt, step on, a lot easier than a pit bull to their puppies. So um, there's a lot more having to watch them, and instead of, you can let a pit bull kind of jump into her box and she'll lay it down and she'll feed, and it's
Yeah.
pretty much the dogs get there and they do what they need to do. With these Frenchies, mom will get there, she'll lay right on top of them. They're kind of, some of them are ditzes, some of them are great mothers, some are still great mothers but just ditzy in the brain, and they'll go and they'll lay
Right.
right on top of them and they'll feel like they're feeding them. And you just have to, there's a lot more supervision behind Frenchies, whereas a regular bigger dog, or a
Mhm.
normal sized dog who's kind of great comparison in size, like these guys, they don't care. Sometimes they
Like,
just
what's under me? Is
they,
that a rock?
and they'll just stay there. The bulldogs are even funnier to watch
Oh,
than
really?
with their pups, because they're so lazy. So they just kind of just lay there and it's just like, get there, you get there, you get there, you don't, you don't. So,
Wow.
there's a lot more supervision that needs to happen with them, and a lot more
Wow.
patience. I'll say that, just a lot more patience with them as well.
I bet. Do you enjoy the more being more hands-on with them?
I love it. I love the first two,
Nice.
3 weeks, besides the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
I do love it. It's a part of life that a lot of people don't get to experience. And, you know, me making the decision to not have kids, this is my
Right.
best way of, being able to still enjoy, just labor and seeing a birth.
Mm.
It's super
Yeah.
fun. Um, I work for other people, so I enjoy seeing different puppies coming in, seeing different dogs, and I just love it. I love it. I fell in love with dogs in a whole, so just
Oh,
anything to do with animals, I'm there.
oh, that is it's so clear. I mean, I can see your passion, and I just think it's fantastic. Now, talk to us about what you're feeding your puppies, and then as they become dogs throughout the year.
So I finally transitioned my whole kennel into raw. Um,
Nice.
we were feeding, at first we were doing Royal Canin, um, which has gotten pretty pricey, I would say, for the beginner breeder. Probably not for the big time breeders, but for someone myself who's just starting again, it
Hmm.
got pretty pricey when you have, 8 dogs and a
Oh my,
30,
yeah.
yeah, I think a 30, 40 pound bag of Royal Canin right now is about $120 with the tax or
Yeah.
something like that.
No, good dog food is so expensive.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's getting up there. So I did a lot of research. I was having an issue from then switching my dogs to find a cheaper solution that was still good for them and healthy for them. I went through a lot of issues. I went through real bad diarrhea and real bad just bowels, and I started feeling really bad for my pups. I could see they were losing weight. It was getting stressful for them. Um, I thought raw was going to be more expensive than what I was doing, but in the long run, it's had many, many benefits that I see that a lot of people do speak on. Um, Digestion has been amazing. I went from runs and having to clean up my yard maybe 2 times, 3 times, maybe 4 times a day. I mean, I had
Oh my
12 dogs at this
gosh.
time, but just having to go through and clean up every day, I've gone from um, having to do that daily to probably having to do it twice, maybe 3 times a week.
Oh wow, that's
They pretty
huge.
much, you could tell that they digest and they take in everything in the raw feeding. I just give them beef.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I give them an 80-10-10 mix, which is 80% meat, 10% bones and cartilage. The other 10% is um, organs, hair, ears, anything that's actually very, very good for their digestion. And I could say that the amount of poop is so much less and it breaks down completely. Like, I'll go outside and it'll probably rain Like today, I was supposed to clean up poop. I'll go out there and there'll probably be nothing out there because the rain just breaks everything down.
Oh,
Their
wow.
coats got 100% better. Um, Less farting. The Frenchies,
Oh my gosh.
their
Oh my
farts
God,
are
the
horrible.
bullies, right? They're insane.
They're
There
insane.
were, yeah, we call them air poops. Like it literally feels like the poop, and sometimes it feels like
Yeah,
they literally like pooped
poop
on you. And I'm
themselves.
like, what is going on?
Crazy.
Anyway,
Oh my God, yes.
so bad.
The raw, and it's actually been a lot more pocket friendly than I thought it would be. I spend a
Nice.
lot less. I buy food. I could probably take 2 months in between buying food. I mean, the most I had
Oh,
to do was
wow.
buy a deep freezer, but that was,
Yes.
you know, that was pretty much it. I buy about 200 pounds at a time for my 8 Frenchies and probably like every 2 to 3 months.
Oh,
And
that's
the
incredible.
difference was seen within a week. It was. And I didn't vouch for raw at first, but I vouch for it 100%. My puppies eat raw at 4 weeks, and I could see the difference in these puppies instantly could see the difference from me feeding them goat's milk and just, regular mush to just feeding them
Yeah.
raw. They get so much chunkier.
Oh,
They poop less. They're not in the poop. They're not trying to eat. I've had less eating of poop
okay. That's good to
as
know.
well. So, still kind of working out the ins and the odds and ends, but I
Nice.
do enjoy it. I do enjoy it, and I think it's a good move for a lot of people.
Now, are there vegetables or some kind of like potatoes or starch or grains that you
So
put with it?
it depends on you and what you want to feed.
Okay.
I don't give them vegetables, but I give them supplements, which are vegetables. So they get dehydrated carrots, which
Oh,
helps with
nice.
keeping their stools firm. We have dehydrated cranberries that they also get, as well as dehydrated beets. So that all helps with their systems. I don't supplement my dogs every day, though I do give them supplements. I probably give it to them every 2 to 3 days, and depending on what it is, maybe once a week. Um, I give them things like coconut oil, they get
Oh,
things
that's
like
good.
that, fish oils and stuff like that. But they're kind of picky when it comes to veggies. So I
Yeah.
kind of just hide it in with the powders and, and the dehydrated stuff. Some of them will eat it, some of them they'll just play with it. I had one, my pit, may she rest in peace. She loved
Mm.
salad. So I could give her a whole head of lettuce and she would scarf it down. So everyone here is different. So I found that the raw they like, they eat, they don't graze, they don't leave it. Everyone will eat and they're happy and they're satisfied. They don't walk around looking for too much else afterwards. So,
Oh,
I
that's
feel like
nice.
they enjoy it. And it all goes by weight as well. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I had a pit mix with my first dog, Bailey, and he loved broccoli. But let's
nice.
just say the gas is already bad. So I'm like, sorry, dude, this isn't
Yeah,
happening.
right, yeah. So that's another reason why I kind of lay low on the veggies because I don't need any
Right.
parting from these guys. He's
It's
pretty bad.
enough.
This small body right here could give you some good farts over here. So, you know,
Now, how many times a day do you feed your pups?
they get fed once a day. So they're supposed to get about 7 ounces of raw.
Hmm.
I give them about 8 and they get a little extra. So we also add in Stella and Chewy's raw freeze dried patties. So they get
Hmm.
about 2 of those. And they have open airways to a load of treats. So they've got the chewables, the pig's feet, the tracheas. They get that pretty much all day.
Oh,
This
nice.
this chunky guy only gets fed once, and he's pretty chunky. So they get a
Yeah.
good diet. I try to keep everyone to the point where they could go outside and function. I would
Right.
feed these guys twice a day, but they hold their weight pretty well.
Yeah.
And I do allow them to sit all day outside when they want to when the weather's nice.
Yes.
I train them, we put them through all types of breathing, exercises and stuff just so they could last outside because they do have a hard time in the harder weather. So I just try to make sure that they could handle it and they know how to, take care of themselves if they ever get, overheated too hot. So I try to keep their weight pretty maintained. And that's just what's saying. They are pinballs, so we don't need them any fatter.
It's funny because the next question was, how do you keep your dogs in shape throughout the year? And do they need
Okay.
much exercise?
These guys, they're pretty active. I know most people think that Frenchies are supposed to be lazy, and
Right.
you guys are not lazy. Even my fattest one, he'll get out there and he'll run back and forth. They stay pretty active. they all like their balls. They all like to play. My boys all play together. My girls as well. They all play together. They love outside.
Oh
I do
yeah.
spoil my animals, but I enjoy my animals being animals. I enjoy
Yes.
I enjoy nature doing nothing. So I would love my dogs to be able to do the same. We've had some 100-degree weather here in
Mm,
Chicago, which is actually pretty rare, over 100
yeah.
degrees. And
Wow.
me and all the dogs, we sat out there and we saunas together, kind of want them to learn to be able to control their bodies as well as, me being able to tell what they look like when they're going through stress or overheating. Even now with him breathing like this, I know it's not an issue and I know that he's okay. He's just pretty much hot. He's a big boy, so he's
Yeah.
hot, but I know that he won't overheat. I know that nothing will happen. He'll just sit here and do this all day. You know, that's pretty much it. I try to make sure that my dogs are accustomed to a lot of things. We go to dog shows, and some of these dog shows don't have the best, AC units and stuff like that going. So I have to prepare them as well as
Right.
prepare myself. So
Yeah, that's really smart. With Blue, he loves to lay in the sun, but he'll literally, like on a hot day, he'll be out for 10 and then he'll be crying for me to let him in. I'll sit out there all day. I love the heat.
and he
I'll let
knows.
him in. And then 10 minutes on the cool floor and then he's out and then he's in and then he's out. It's like
He
a
knows.
thousand times. I should just be
Mhm.
like, dude, just stay out
And
or
that's he knows
stay in.
his body. That's a good thing because he knows
Oh,
like, "Hey,
good.
I'm getting too hot. Can I go inside
Okay.
for a little bit?" That's better than these guys. Well, they'll just sit out there. They'll sit in the
Oh,
sun. They don't even sit
really?
in the shade. Yeah. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
they enjoy
Yeah.
outside. I think that's just part of them enjoying being with
Hmm.
nature. So, I kind of have to teach them like, hey, you feel you're too hot, find the shade, find the water, find the
Yeah.
pool. My Frenchies love water. They love water. They love the water hose. They love the pool. So they
Oh.
know what to look for.
I can't even imagine how cute they must look, excuse me, swimming. Like I'm picturing it now and all I can do is smile.
Pigs in a pool. Pigs in a pool. That's all it is. Just pigs in a pool.
Do they have to have a little life jacket or they just go
Some
in there
of
and
them do. I don't feel the pull up that much, but I do
oh,
have
okay.
friends that actually can swim without it. Now, him, I think he would sink, to be honest.
Yes,
I haven't had him in a big enough pool. I usually just give him kiddie pools.
right.
And I haven't taken him to a big enough body of water. I will soon, just to
Okay.
see. But I think him being so heavy and dense, he would probably sink. So he'd probably be my floaty guy.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a pond near us and people think, "Oh, labs just swim." Well, I got my lab from a shelter at 19 months and he doesn't swim and he doesn't fetch because nobody taught him. So
Right.
like it's in them, but if you don't
If
teach
you
them,
don't
they don't
show
do
them
it. Right?
exactly.
But Blue, even though he doesn't fetch, if I throw a stick into the pond, he'll swim out after it. And he's a better swimmer than Benji, the lab. And it's so funny if people are there because Blue's really like trying to keep his head above, but he does it. So
They,
perseverance.
yeah, that's all it is. Perseverance. These dogs don't give up, and we need to learn that from them. They don't give up no matter what. So
Absolutely. Now, walk us through the process of purchasing a pup from your kennel from start to finish.
we answer whatever questions you want. So if you just want to window shop, that's never an issue with us.
Oh, nice.
We like making the connections. You never know. Some people aren't ready. Some people are ready. But we like to keep that good notion, that hey, I spoke to this person a year ago and they were so sweet. You never know. But it starts off, if you find interest in a pup and you would like to
Hmm.
see them face to face, if you're local, we meet up. We find a nice local location where everyone feels comfortable and safe. If they're, in another state, we find a way to FaceTime, video call, Zoom, whatever the case may
Nice.
be. Um, we get online, we answer whatever questions, we give you full visuals of pups. And if both parents are here, we would also give you full visuals of parents and where they live at. Uh, from there, we don't require a deposit, but we do tell people that if you place a deposit, it actually puts a hold on that puppy because if someone else
Oh,
is
good.
interested and, they come money ready,
Yeah.
then they're money ready. Um, from there, if they want to place a deposit, puppy gets taken off of, wherever marketplace that they're at. And we give updates until you're ready to come pick up pup. We usually allow pickups around 8 weeks. We do
Oh,
6 weeks only for certain instances. We do have some breeders who are interested and want to start, whether it's putting them on the stack box and getting them ready for shows.
Mm.
So we do allow 6 weeks. It just depends the circumstances and how educated the new owners are. Um, from there, 8 weeks, we give them everything that they need. So from first sets of shots all the way to rabies, if needed, we do
Okay.
we do give to them. But if not, then they get their bordatellas, they get their kennel cough, they get their parvo when there's temper. Um, we give them everything. They come with a care package for their life. We don't give raw to our puppies that we know that will be going home with other
Mm.
parents, being that not everyone is comfortable with raw. So we will ask, do you want
Right.
us to feed raw? Do you want us to feed a certain kibble? What would you like to do? And from there, it's just, if they're making payments, we do accept payments. We ask that, payments are made before pickup. We allow until 4 months for payments. So
Oh,
our
nice.
clients have until 4 months old. And from there, we kind of try to find some other alternative if they cannot make the payments by 4 months. Um, but by the time these guys are ready to go home, we have them pretty much halfway potty trained and crate trained for the new
Oh,
owners as
that's
well.
nice.
So
Yeah.
new owners should just be able to come pick a pup, and of course they're gonna cry being alone now, coming from a litter. But in hopes that by the time they get puppy home, it's easier for them to transition their pup to their living. Um, we fly pups to you. So if
Oh,
our new owners are in another state, we provide pet transport. We provide flight nanny services. And we also have someone that we work with who will also drive. If you're not safe, if the client doesn't feel safe with the puppy flying, we have someone who will deliver for a low charge as well. So we try our best to work with our clients and anyone that's looking for a pet. We try to mentor as well. We will mentor all the way through. So even if you guys want to breed or just have a pet, you guys could call us anytime, any day, and we will pick up the phone as long as we're not super busy. We'll pick up the phone and and help whoever it is that is part of our kennel. We really do treat anybody who buys from our kennel as family. We've only just started. We're not 10, 20 years in. We're only 3 or 4 years in with the French Bulldog. So everyone is pretty much family. We like to uphold everyone to
oh,
family.
oh, that's so nice. I have to say, those sounds are so cute. So if if you see me like my eyes are laughing and you're like, I didn't say anything funny.
I know it's the
It's
thing.
just so adorable. I have to ask, so like, do you sleep with them? Because like Blue sleeps in our room and Benji, and Blue's a loud snore, and I have to wear earplugs. And sometimes even in the with the earplugs, I can still hear it. My husband's gotten used to it. He doesn't hear it. I still hear it. So how do you, how do you
So
handle that with the sounds? It's so cute
most of
though.
mine do not snore. Thank
Oh,
God.
okay.
So that's one big thing I do look for when I buy a dog or buy a Frenchie.
Right.
Him to me, for what we're doing, this is not a lot of noise. It's just normal, typical
It,
French noise.
it's
But
adorable.
there are Frenchies who get way worse than this just sitting here.
Oh
That
gosh.
is one thing I really don't approve. My sleep means a lot to me only
Me
because I
too.
do whelp. So we get about 2 hours of sleep. Every 2 hours we're up, feeding and whatnot. So sleep means a lot to us. But my dogs, thank God, are not big snorers. They do not sleep with us. Reason being, boys, we just don't. They mark too much. I have way too many girls that, are in and out of heat. So they
Mm-hmm.
tend to, want to mark and want to do all those things. So we don't allow them to sleep in the bed. They all get their own
Right.
either big kennel depending on how they do overnight. So he's still 50-50. We're still going through some potty training things. I think it's just because he realizes we've got other boys in the house. So
Yeah.
he does his
Yeah.
thing. But usually they all get their own kennels. They all get their own living arrangements. If they are fully potty trained, they get their beds in our regular rooms. And they just
Nice.
lay there. Most of them are pretty good all night. They just lay there and
Yeah.
they're good dogs. Our dogs who aren't trained, unfortunately, who still have their potty training issues or who want to chew up on stuff throughout the night and stuff like that, they have their kennels or their playpens.
Oh,
They
good.
get to free roam those, but we might have one or two who need to be kennels all night. But other than that, they're actually really good. We want our room. We want to be able to sleep and get our rest in when we're whelping. So we
Exactly.
tend to not allow them in our beds. Um,
Right.
but they've got queen size mattresses that they get to They get our own mattresses pretty much. So everyone gets a queen size mattress in their own bed in here pretty much.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, we got some nice dog beds. We finally spent the money because Benji he's only, he's almost 10, but he has really, really bad arthritis.
I was gonna say
And
old
he
man,
need,
man
yeah,
feelers.
yeah, oh yeah. So we thought, you know what, if we're gonna get a really nice, high quality, firm bed for an older dog, even though Blue's 8 and he's fine, we got him the same one. And what's funny is they'll start in the night, they're each in their own, and then at some point they switch, and in the morning they get in one of them together. It's so
I
adorable.
love that. I love seeing them cuddled up. And with
Me
my guys,
too.
it's fun to see who really likes who. So
Yeah.
I have 8, and some of them really, really get along, and they're like attached to the hip, and some of them are just like, I like you. You could just see that
Right.
having more than one really shows you that they really do have feelings and emotions, and
Yeah.
they do go through liking and not liking. Thank God everyone in my house gets along. I
Good.
don't deal with fights or scuffles. I mean, right now the girls are playing. They saw my wife get up, so now they think everyone's ready to get up. But now they're playing, and all the girls get along, all the boys get along. We only keep them separated because him, especially, thinks that every girl's for him, so he
Oh,
doesn't care. Um, but other than that, all of our dogs get along, which is one thing that I really, really, really enjoy.
oh, that's great. Yeah, having these two guys, it's so nice when they just love each other. They'll play and now they'll cuddle and even Benji, even though he's almost 10 has arthritis, he's still jumping on Blue's back trying to get him to play. Most of the time Blue just kind of ignores him, but he's still trying, you
The
know?
the old ones really still have the young, hearts and the young
Yeah.
minds, and we have to watch out for them because at that point it's up to us. And that's just an
Mm,
animal's drive, no matter
right?
what happens, they're gonna always be them. And that's what I love about them. They'll never change for anyone, or pretty much anything. It's unconditional with them, and
It's
that's
so
pretty much
true.
everything in their life, is pretty much unconditional.
Oh, dogs are the best. Now, going back to talking about purchasing the pups, do you offer any health guarantees or support for your
Oh,
puppies
yes.
after they go to their new homes?
Yes, yes. So we offer 2-year health guarantee with these guys. And
Okay.
that's from anything unnatural. So, anything that has to do with their back, spines, and stuff like that.
Mm.
We very much so breed against that. So with the hopes that nothing happens in the future like that. But we do give them 2 years. Anything happens with pups within the 2 years, we would give you a new one if that's something you want, or figure out what it is that we could do for that. Uh, but we have yet, knock on wood, thank you, we have yet to have any issues of that. We have no allergy issues with our pups. We have not had any lung issues, any breathing issues. None of our dogs have
Oh,
had to get
wow.
nair surgery or anything of that nature. So, we hope to keep that up. But if ever anything happened, yes, we do whatever it is to keep our client happy, as long as it's shown that it is not of their fault or just regular
Right.
human nature. We won't do anything for falls or breaks or anything like that. So,
Oh, okay.
but anything heart, lungs, anything of
Yeah.
that nature that should be our as a breeder something that we should deal with, we definitely do.
Okay. And so you haven't had to handle returns or rehoming of puppies or adult dogs that didn't
No,
work
ma'am.
out?
One
Wow.
we've had one rehome, but it wasn't for health.
Oh,
The client had her own health issues and just couldn't
oh,
keep the pup or continue the payment. So, and we reimbursed her. We're very
that's
understanding
so
people.
nice.
Something of that
Wow.
nature, we definitely look out for. She's a cancer survivor, and things ended up getting right back, and we understand. Things like that. We're very understanding for. And now, if you tell us we didn't really think about what we wanted to invest in, of course, give me our dog back, give us our dog back.
Yeah.
But it won't be that easy for you to be reimbursed or refunded, for
Mm-hmm.
said puppy, being that your excuse is that you didn't, do the research, or, make
Exactly.
sure, certain things we do, we will sit there and help you guys out with. Other things, it's just like, you knew what you were getting into, so.
Exactly. It's funny because the way I got Blue is Benji and I, this was like 8 years ago. We bumped, well, it can't be 8 years ago. He's 8. So this was 7 years ago. we bumped into him at that pond that I was mentioning, and there was the woman with him was saying, "Oh, my husband, excuse me, my son got this puppy, and he's like going off to college soon, and I travel a lot, and I can't keep him." And I said, "Just I'll take him 5 days a week. If you're home
Right,
on the weekends, yes, I'll take him
right.
5 days a week. I love pitties. Just they can play together. It's great." And then eventually, when he was around a year, she's like, "I'm gonna have to give him up," and we're like, "Yeah, no, we're taking him." It's the same thing. It's like her 18-year-old son. It's like, oh my God, he's so cute. Ooh, a puppy. And then it's like, but the mom couldn't keep him, right? And if I didn't step in, he would have ended up at the shelter with
Yep,
so many other pitties.
exactly. We get a lot of
So,
people who want to buy puppies after having children, and the
hmm.
children have not even made a year old. And sometimes we do talk to clients, and
Oh, good.
we never want to count anyone's pockets or tell them what they can or cannot handle. But
Right.
we do want to make sure that you at least have the right mind frame, or know, you know, the odds, the ends, the pros and the cons to now having another child, because that's basically all it is having another child,
Oh, yeah.
a young child at this point. So we try to talk to her. I do try to talk to them as much as possible. And I know some breeders don't, they just want to get the puppies gone. And to us, I'd rather not have to deal with having to take this puppy back within
Right.
6 months to a year. I'd
Yeah.
rather not. I'd rather be able to make sure that you're happy, puppy's happy, and you keep them forever. I mean, that's the point at the end of the day, is to have a forever,
Right.
pet. So, or, as long as we can pet. So, we try our best to feel, our clients as much as we can. Things happen in life, and we know things happen,
Yeah.
especially now we're in such an unstable time of the world and just life in
Oh,
general. So,
right.
you just have to pick and choose and just hope that, they're exactly what, they said they'll be for this animal.
Yeah. And this might be an odd question because I know, of course, this is your business, but have you ever met people who you say, you know what, you might be better off going to a shelter and getting a dog that's two or three, or you
I
might
I
get an
have, it's hard telling someone in those terms that, they can't
yeah.
afford your dog, or you just feel like they're not a great candidate
Right.
for your dog. Um, in instances like that, I kind of try my best to explain why. So maybe whoever they speak to next, or maybe they could reevaluate what they
Yeah.
want to do. You do have the people who just don't want to hear it and just feel like, no matter how you say it to them, like, feel they're being disrespected or whatever the case may
Oh,
be, and it is what it is. Um, with me even doing the reproductive work, there have been a lot of clients who I've stepped into their homes or done business with them, and I know I'll probably never do business with them again because it was just unethical, or the things that I
oh.
saw were just such things that I just don't agree with. Um,
Hmm.
the easiest way sometimes is just not answer the phone anymore, and not respond.
Yeah.
It sucks to say it like that, but sometimes as a business, you have to think about what's worth the fight, what's worth the
Right.
argument, what's worth the negative promotion, or whatever the case may be. So when I get clients like that, I tend to talk to them as much as I can. And sometimes it's as easy as saying as puppy has sold, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes just to keep it safe face and to keep it as friendly as possible. The easiest way is to just say, hey, we sold that puppy, and maybe next time.
Yeah.
It's kind of the easiest way sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that puppies are a lot of work. And
Oh
if you
yeah.
travel a lot, right, or you just had, triplets, it might not be the right time.
Exactly, exactly. And people get emotional,
Yeah.
people are sensitive nowadays. We're a lot more sensitive nowadays. So to tell someone,
Right.
hey, you can't afford my dog, sometimes it's just like a slap in the face to some people. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people come in thinking that French bulldogs are cheap. Not gonna say
Mhm.
that you cannot find a cheap French bulldog, but quality sells itself,
Of course.
and I'm not one to sell low quality, so I will not let my puppies go at a low quality rate. I'm not going to say that there aren't dogs that I have not let go at, a lower rate. Um, but things come into play. DNA, when
Right.
we're breeding for certain aspects, I'm breeding to kind of feed off to more breeders. So when we know we have something that is not breed quality, of course we're going to drop their fee to a pet home rate. But even
Yeah.
my pet home fee is still, you know, pretty expensive to the normal person because these dogs are expensive, you know.
Yeah.
To breed alone, they need C-sections. A C-section here in
Oh,
Chicago is anywhere from 1,500 to 8,000. I've gotten quoted
oh my
on an
God. I
ERT.
had no idea.
Exactly. So, you know, whereas with a pit, you might spend a couple hundred, maybe $1,000 at most. Here, just to get them out of the womb, where we
Right.
could be spending up to $3,000. So would I allow someone to buy my dog for 500, my puppy for 500? No, which is
Mm-mm.
what a lot of clients come in expecting to hear, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that's why I say I like to feel the clients out first. You know, I'd
Right.
rather have some type of relationship, get some type of friendship going, even if it's not for the long run. I just want to know
Sure.
what's going on in, you know, in your life. Why do you want a French bulldog out of all, you know, breeds of dogs? Why do you want a Frenchie, someone that needs a little bit more supervision than, you know, the normal doodle or lab or, you know,
Yeah.
normal shepherd? You can leave a shepherd out in any weather and they'll pretty much be fine. Whereas most people don't even know, you let these guys out in 80-degree weather for too long, you might come outside to a passed away dog from
Oh my
overheating. You know,
gosh.
so with the education and stuff that's needed behind these dogs, I wouldn't just give it to a normal, you know,
Right.
a normal dog owner who really doesn't know much about Frenchies. You know, I would hope that they educate themselves a little bit. So, you know,
Well,
it's
I really, oh, I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
you're fine. Yeah, it's rough money wise, but you know,
Right.
they understand it's always easier. You know.
Yeah. Well, I just really admire people like you who are doing this right. I mean, the puppy mills are so effing horrible, and the pet store, it's like you gotta go to a reputable breeder. And that's why, I'm so glad that I am part of Bully Girl magazine now and the
Love
and
it.
your podcast because, I'm a big shelter person. I've always gotten my dogs from a shelter, or, I met Blue in that way and he was gonna go to a shelter, but I got my lab from a shelter. But people are gonna get puppies, right? They want puppies. And I'm really proud to say I'm bringing people who do a damn good job,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
know what you're going to get, and they care about the health, and they're not stacked on top of each other
Right.
crapping. And I mean, it's
Right.
just abhorrent what's
No,
going on out there, right?
no,
So I really admire you.
getting bad. You know, it is getting bad with the mills. And now that these guys made number one, everyone
Oh
wants
yes,
them.
I saw that.
Yeah, so not everyone wants to breed them, and everyone wants, you know, to take advantage of it, which goes with anything else in the world. You know, it's just the
Yeah.
way the world turns.
Right.
But I agree with you. The puppy mills behind these guys is getting pretty bad, and them being a breed that's prone to health issues, you know, you
Right.
kind of do want to keep them away from the puppy mill field.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you know, even with me having eight, sometimes I turn around, I'm like, I have too many. Like, how can we find someone a nice pet and still allow them to work in the program, you know? Because even sometimes when I have to leave, like my boys, for example, when I have girls in heat and some of these guys have to stay in their crates because
Right.
they just won't take no for an answer. I feel horrible because I hate seeing my
Oh,
guys in you know, in cages all day, and some of them
yeah.
try to break out. They're just
Sure.
normal nature, you know. So I'm the same way. Like I don't want to be considered a puppy mill. So once I get a certain amount of dogs
Right.
that I know I want to keep, I have to reevaluate myself. And you know, me and my wife look at
Yeah.
each other and we're like, you know, who are we
Right.
keeping? Who's a good potential and who's not? I no poop. Sorry. Have his puppies actually right in front of me here.
Oh.
Um, so yeah, you know, it's it gets to the point where you as the breeder have to talk to yourself and realize when enough is enough, and when turning
Right.
into a turning into a backyard breeder is something you have to look out
Right.
for and be careful for, because it's easy for someone to look from the outside looking in and say
Hmm.
that's a backyard breeder. I'm gonna go tell everyone that she's a backyard breeder because I saw three dogs in a cage. You know, the world is
No.
the world. You know, we have some really
Right.
big animal lovers who love animals who don't want to see them in
Sure.
cages at all. And a lot of them look at us breeders as backyard breeders no matter what, because, you know, we have them in cages or we're just breeding, you know, and you have to keep yourself and, you know, your kennel clean. And that's my
Right.
biggest thing with my kennel and my
Yeah.
name, you know. We want to keep a
Exactly.
good name and we want to keep, you know, good references and just all around good everything with people. You know, we do reproductive services and,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
we mentor, we just, we try to keep a good name for ourselves. Our clients come first, and these animals come first. At the end of the day,
Absolutely.
they pay our bills, so we need to
Yeah.
take care of them correctly and show them we appreciate it.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, when I'm talking puppy mill, I'm talking about where you read they're literally stacked on top of each other. They can't even move. They have so many in a cage at once. There's,
Yeah,
like I said, crap everywhere. They don't give a damn about their health. They're not doing all the
in a,
stuff that
in a
you're doing, right? And that's what's
yeah.
the difference.
I've seen it. I've seen 8 to 10 puppies in a 42-inch, cage, and it's like, give them a kennel at least, give them somewhere
Yeah,
they can walk at least. Like,
gotta move around.
yeah, let them move around. Like these guys, their cages and their kennels are at least 3 times their size. So, even
Yeah,
if you are stuck in there for a good 6 hours, you could walk around. You have room. You could play with your toys. You could roll around if you want to. We try to make them as comfortable as we can
right.
without taking away from cleanup or sanitation or whatnot, because that's another thing you have to look out for, keep them
Yeah,
clean. I hate to
right.
see these guys and like I said, I'm not perfect. Not everyone
Oh,
gets their
well,
nails cut on time, and
well,
not
no.
everyone gets their kennels clean on time. But you could tell someone who hasn't cleaned a kennel in months or weeks
Oh, yeah,
compared to someone who probably skipped a day or three
of
because
course.
they're busy. And that's our biggest issue. That's my biggest thing. You never know who's gonna pop up. You never know
Right,
who's going to want to see a puppy. You never know who's going to want to get on FaceTime or, anything. And hey, can I view your puppy right now? And you don't want to tell a person no because that just
right,
sends off red flags. Oh, I can't right now. I mean, besides you're not home. I mean, they know you're home and you say no, I can't. That starts
right.
off the red flag. So, you want to be prepared.
Yeah,
Mentally and physically prepared for anything that a client needs. Because they want that. They want to be able to call you openly and be able to reach you whenever, or they
yeah,
want to be able to call you and say, hey, can I see the mom and dad and see how they look? And if you're showing a dirty kennel or showing dirty dogs, I mean, what does that say about you and your household,
right.
in the long, in the bigger
Absolutely.
picture? So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what we really care about here.
Well, it's funny because I was going to ask you what advice you have for upcoming breeders, but I think we covered a lot of that. But if there's anything else that you want to
Patience,
cover,
patience.
patient.
In
Okay.
in the market right now, and I don't know if every market is the same. The French Bulldog market has gone down a lot. It's actually a roller coaster. You've got the people who are breeding for fads and colors and
Hmm.
whatever is new in the market, and then you've got your
Right.
breeders who are just the hobby breeders who are just breeding, and then you've got your people who are breeding with health and standard and stuff like that. Um, but there's still a lot of patience that needs to be shown. A lot of people think that just because you get a dog and you breed within the first year, you're going to make thousands of dollars, and the investment definitely does not come back that quick. Um, Patience and a lot of education.
Right.
Don't just
Oh,
jump in and buy what you can, which I made that mistake, which I think a lot of people make that mistake.
yeah,
You buy what you can afford. And if you do go that route, get better.
exactly.
Make the point to be a better breeder or better at whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you start off as a backyard breeder or you start off. And when I say backyard breeder, I don't necessarily mean the people who are doing the worst of the worst and the
Of
mills. I
course.
think a backyard breeder is just anyone who's beginning and just doesn't
Right.
know the odds and the ends and everything that needs to be known. But you could always come out of that title. So I tell people,
Yeah.
educate yourself, have patience, learn how to run a business, learn how to give customer service. Because without those things being okay, you probably won't get too far. Without knowing how to talk to people and accept criticism and accept
Right.
people's opinions for what they are, which is just an opinion. Um, you'll probably have a hard time because this is a very opinionated business. This is a very it could be a very lucrative business if you do it the correct way. I mean, I've seen some
Right.
people do it the wrong way and within 2 years they're getting backlash and so you just have to pick and choose what way you want to go and what makes the more sense to you, in the long run.
Right. Well, it sounds like you have to put money into it up front, and it might take a while to see a profit.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
very much so. Um, the lowest I've seen a good quality French Bulldog go for is about 25 to 3,500.
Oh,
Um, so exactly. So that's why most people are like, oh, I have to have puppies right now and make this money back right now. But when you don't breed for the breed, let's put it like that. You know, if you don't breed to have them actually look like French bulldogs and have them look like the breed, well, then now you're kind of backpedaling. Now you're just kind of turning into the backyard breeder where you're just selling what you can, you know.
Right.
So with these guys being so expensive, you would hope that most people put the time and the patience behind it. You know, a Chihuahua,
Mm-hmm.
you can go out and get one for $50, and breeding that is a lot easier than breeding one of these guys. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of go wrong and why
Ah.
they quit, because they think that it's
Mm-hmm.
easy and they see how much more 35 for a puppy, 1,500 for a
Wow.
C-section, 2,000 for a stud fee. You're spending a lot of money before you even see the puppies, you know, land.
Right.
And that's if you even get to that point, because there are the craziness that happens in between before your litter gets here and after your litter gets here. So, you know, it is a lot of work and a lot of patience with this breed that a lot of people don't know and don't understand. And though you could ask a lot more for these dogs than you can certain other breeds, um, yeah, people don't realize that it's a lot of money that goes into them anyway. So it's not like you're coming in positive
Right.
every time, you know. Um, patience, patience,
Patience.
patience, patience. Yeah, a lot out of it.
Oh yeah. Now, is there anyone that you look up to in the bully game? I mean, I'm looking up to you. I have to say that.
Thank you, thank you. There is a local kennel who took me under his wing in a sense. His name is Manny from Outlaw Kennels. He was pretty much the first other kennel to actually give me a chance, and I mean in everything. I mean with the whelping, with the breeding, with owning a dog. Um, he's actually mentored me a lot. But as
Nice.
far as who's not local to me, Mosley Kennels is another kennel that I look up to. They always help out. They're always mentoring. I'm really into the breeders that actually take the time out to educate and to take care of whoever purchases from them, because this is a lot of money that we're
Right.
putting in their pockets for these dogs. Um, I have another mentor. He's from Ireland. His name is Patty. And he comes to the States and he does reproduction classes. So he is who I've gone to take my classes on whelping, on canine reproduction, so AIs, progesterone, cytology, and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
My mentors really aren't really breeders. They're more
Yeah.
so more into the veterinary side,
Cool.
which is another side of the breeding world that I really am starting to enjoy. I like the science side of it, the science
Oh,
side behind
I
breeding.
love science.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
um, that's where a lot of my clients come into play.
Oh, cool. Now, tell us about one of your main goals for this year.
My main goal is to start producing actual minis. I'll actually be having my first mini litter at the end of the month.
Oh,
So I'm very excited to actually, I've gotten very close to what I want to produce and what my kennel to be known for. This boy actually has a mini breeding as well coming. And so those are our first two mini breedings. So just the goal is to have them nice and healthy and, you know, have them do right, you know.
yeah. Oh, I love that. Now, how would you want things in the bully breed community to be 10 years from now?
I hope a lot more put together. I love the fact that the bully community is starting to come together a lot more. Social media is helping with a lot of that,
Yeah.
where, you know, we could all come together. The dog shows are starting to get way more amazing. Um, I hope that the market gets back to where it needs to be and that we're more steady, so that people could start breeding the way that they really want to breed, you know, and start breeding for
Yeah.
more. You're gonna fall, baby. Start breeding, you know, for more health purposes, and I hope that we, you know, weed out the breeders who are just in it for the money, you know, who don't treat
Right.
the dogs like they're just nobodies, you know, who kind of just treat the dogs as money hounders, you know.
That's
So,
terrible.
you know, I'm hoping to get a lot closer with the community. I can't wait to see in 10 years how much bigger these dog shows get and these
Right.
registries, and you know how much the standard changes, because everything is always an evolution of change. So, you know, 10 years from now, who knows what a French bulldog will even look like, you know, 10 years from now, what the bully will look like, you know, that now that we've got these exotics and these
Right.
little guys and, you know, these big, extreme, you know, gorilla looking dudes. Like, you know, I'm excited to see what they look like in 10 years. You know, I know a lot of people don't like the change.
Mm.
I like it's a big thing that we argue with a lot of breeders with the Frenchies is the colors that they're adding. We have like hairless Frenchies now and certain things that I don't agree with. But hey,
Yeah,
we know this is part of life. Nothing ever stays the same. So you either get
true.
with it or you get left. Is kind of, how it is. So,
Right.
certain things I probably will never get with, but you have to be able to change. You have to be open and open-minded to the way the economy and the world is changing because if not, you might not make it farther than 5 to 10 years. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I don't know which way it'll go, but hopefully we'll still have a French Bulldog.
Absolutely. Now, do you currently show any of your dogs?
He does. He gets shown. We
Nice.
actually just went into our first title showing. He did BRC sanction show, so he's got some points under his belt. We have a lot of people vouching for him and want me to show him an AKC. I don't think I'm confident enough for that. Um, I might have him go with someone else who's way more into showing
Hmm.
and is a shower. Um, my dogs unfortunately cannot be shown. Maybe besides him and one other dog that I have because they are not the standard as far as colors go. Um, which I really don't care about. I know Merle, we all know Merle, and certain colors aren't part of, these breeds, but I
Right.
like colors. Um, I am hoping though with him that maybe one day we'll put him in the AKC shows. He is of standard for AKC. He's a little bit smaller, but they are starting to kind of not care too much on size. He has a son who is of standard color who I'm starting. He's about 15
Oh,
weeks, and we started actually getting him ready for the shows. But we travel everywhere, wherever we can, and do dog shows. He's got a ton of trophies.
nice.
So we're hoping to get him more professional soon.
Oh,
It's a lot of
cool.
practice. It's a lot of confidence. And me, being the human, I don't know if I have the confidence to walk out there as perfect as he's supposed to. Um, but hopefully sometime in the future, yeah, we do hope to get a little more professional with the dog showing and, have them out there and represent the micro side and the mini side of the French Bulldog.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't been to one yet, but I definitely want to go. Now, do you have any hobbies or interests? I'm thinking you probably don't have that much time, but are there other things you like to enjoy?
Well, besides the science part behind it,
Yeah.
the dog shows have really turned into my newest hobby.
Oh, cool.
Um, it was something that I didn't do too much before, so it is something that I'm looking into doing now more. Um, Other than that, these dogs actually they take up most of my life. Um, I'm honestly just trying to open up a reproductive center, hanging out and just trying to save up the money for a building and stuff like that. So really, I put my hobbies on
Exciting.
hold just to be able
Yeah.
to save up and for the next investment.
Yeah. Yeah. My dogs are my hobby. So,
Exactly. I mean, I'm always doing something every day with these guys. I think um, yesterday I just tested two of my puppies' semen and did a semen analysis. So that's like a 30-minute process. So it's just fun doing the science side. And sometimes I breed these guys later or earlier in their cycles. Like that's the hobby that I've picked up now, trying to figure out the science behind certain things and ovulation and when they're ready and how many puppies can we get at a certain time if we breed early or later.
oh,
So that's what
cool.
I've turned into my hobby at this point.
And what do you think of Bully Girl magazine?
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to get my first issue.
Yeah.
Um, Ever since I was in box, so I knew about you guys from going to dog shows. I've seen
Hmm.
a few
Oh,
people
okay.
place who their dogs are, you know, featured in the magazine. They'll place their magazine on the tables, and dog shows and things like this are still something new to me as well. I've only started going maybe the past year, 2 years now,
Hmm.
and I only went local. This year is like the first year I've been able to venture in different states. So
Right.
I love the magazine because I was able to actually pick them up from another breeder. And as I was sitting at this dog show, I was reading through
Right.
it and I saw a bunch of breeders who I wanted to look into.
Right.
Even though I didn't want a dog or wanted a puppy, it's just nice to find other breeders in this world. Whereas 10, 20 years ago it was just go to your store and stand in front. Maybe you'll go to a local store and find someone who has puppies.
Right.
Nowadays you could read Bully Girl magazine, you could go on Bully Girl's Instagram and you could find a number of
Yep.
very nice looking dogs and click on something or see on the article, oh, that's their Facebook, that's their Instagram. I know how to connect with them, you know. So I
Uh-huh.
love the magazine. I can't wait to
Oh,
to receive my first issue. I started my subscription last month, so waiting
nice.
waiting for this first issue, and I cannot wait um
Uh,
for this first issue. Ladies, they found the bag of chips. I cannot wait for this first issue.
always right.
But that's what I call their toys. When they have this one toy, we call it the bag of chips. It's like, they're opening it.
Yeah,
You're crazy. Uh,
right.
but yeah, I cannot wait to receive my first issue and see what you ladies have going on.
Oh, it's
It's
good.
fun to know that women have something to back them up as well.
Uh,
It's harder for us in any business. Still a lot of attention or,
Right,
just to get the looks that we deserve. So I love
right.
this magazine because it really puts the women in the limelight. There are a lot of us who really know what we're doing and are very much educated on breeding or breeds or animal care or whatever your
Yep.
business could be in that
Yeah.
deserve to be seen, and I love that you guys are giving us a chance to be seen, and be heard, put our voices out there.
Yeah, well, it makes me really happy too. I'm in love with the magazine. My husband and I were looking through it last night, and he went out of the room for a minute, and I was like, "I want this one. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God." And he's just laughing, and he's like, "I know, honey, I know. Someday, someday, but we already have two, but you never know.
We never
I'll keep working on it. At any rate, where do we find you? Give us all the information to find you on social media.
So we are on Facebook under Bulldoze Kennel. So that's like bulldoze, like bulldozer, but
Okay.
without the ER. We are under Instagram under Bulldoze Kennels Chicago as well. And that's pretty much it. We do have a website, but we really don't keep it up to date too much. We don't have too many litters, so there's really nothing for
Right.
us to keep up to date. Um, you could also find us on Google, on Yelp as well, under the same Bulldoze Kennels.
Awesome. Well, this has been so much fun, and I'm like over the moon about doing this podcast. I just absolutely love it.
I'm so
And
excited. Thank you so
it
much.
well, you're just so nice. We had fun. We were like messaging back and forth
Oh
before the
yeah,
show started, and I'm like, I have a new friend.
love your boy Blue. I so miss my pit. May she rest in peace. We just
I
lost
am
her last
so
month. Um,
oh, I'm
at
so
10,
sorry.
10, yeah, 10. So, she
10.
was an old lady. She could have given us some more years. Unfortunately, she
Right.
had a cancer mass that erupted.
Oh my
So we
gosh.
just
I'm so
we just had to
sorry.
put her to sleep. So not ready for another rescue just yet. I know I want one. I always need my
Yes.
pit in my house. I
Yes.
think it'll take some time before I decide
Yeah,
to go back to a rescue.
I get it. I
But I
totally
love your boy
understand.
Blue. He is adorable. He is amazing.
Yes.
Um, cannot wait. You make me excited to get another big baby.
Oh, I always joke. I'm like, Blue's my soulmate. I look at my husband. I go, I mean, my dog's soulmate. My husband goes, yeah, hon, I know what's going
My
on.
wife gives me the same thing.
Yeah.
Every time she sees my wallpaper change on my phone, she's like, another dog beat me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, but it's a different type of love. No one will beat your human soulmate, and no one will beat
No,
your no other animal will beat your dog soulmate ever.
ex exactly. Well, please go get the Bully Girl mobile app. It's fantastic.
I'm there.
Subscribe to
I've
Bully
already
Girl
got
magazine.
it.
Yeah, isn't the app awesome?
Yes. I love it. I love it. I've actually connected with a few other people on the app as well.
Oh,
Just
nice.
looking into their ever since my girl died. So now, I've been kind of looking around. I know I'm not going to buy anything, but it's cool to, watch people and see what you can
Yeah.
potentially get in the future. So I've actually connected with a few bully breeders and pit bull breeders
Oh,
that you guys have featured in
nice.
the app as well. I've been doing my little searching through it. So it's an amazing app too.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it really is. And then make sure to go on social media on Instagram at Bully Girl Mag. And then if you want to follow me, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and I forgot the other one. TikTok, oh, Twitter. Oh,
Twitter.
I have to say Twitter, not a lot of love for the bully breeds. I have my biggest following's on Twitter. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, and I tweeted a bunch of stuff and barely got any love. But then on Instagram, it's so much better. So I think it's just I'm looking on the wrong
Yeah.
platform. But at any rate, if you want to follow me and see my beautiful Blue and once in a while my lab Benji, it's at Lisa
Forget that.
Davis BH. I know, poor Benji, but you know what? He's really, it's not like he's not special, but I'm sorry. I'm a pit bull girl at heart. What are you going to do?
You,
But everybody, right? It's
yeah,
like,
same. I have all these Frenchies, but little Pitty come in, and I'm like, oh my baby. That's yeah, they're the ultimate. They're the ultimate love. Nothing beats first love.
yes, absolutely. And be sure to check out bullygirl.com, find everything you need. Keep coming back. I'm having so much fun, and we're going to have rescues on in addition to the breeders as well. We're going to get a great balance. I'm going to get some vets on here talking about bully health.
Cannot wait.
And let's just talk about it, have fun, and keep loving your bully. And thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much for featuring me. I appreciate you ladies so much. It was a
Yeah.
surprise, and it made my month. It made my day. It made my week.
Oh,
Even through the couple deaths we've been through with our pups, this is something that I've been looking forward to. I'm
oh,
still
good.
still shy behind the camera, behind anything. So this is helping me. You ladies are helping me as well,
Oh,
with my
good.
confidence as well as
You-
us.
You're great on camera. Anna, I mean,
Thank
you're
you.
fab. I would never know. I would never know. Well,
Uh,
you're fabulous. Everyone, please check out Yessie and her fantastic Bulldoze Kennels.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Oh, thank you.